Welcome to Good Day AWWA. Here's your host, David LaFrance, CEO of the American Waterworks Association.
Welcome to Good Day AWWA. Cathy Bailey is my guest today. She's the executive director of the Graeter Cincinnati Waterworks, the 2021 winner of AWWA's Diversity and Inclusion Award, and the self-proclaimed First Lady of Water. So let's have some breakfast and learn about Cathy and learn about her thoughts on leadership, diversity, and water. Welcome, Cathy. Welcome to Good Day AWWA.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me. And thank you for the award. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited about the fact that I was given this award. And hopefully I can lend my ideas and thoughts about diversity and inclusion to more AWWA members through this award.
Well, we appreciate that. And we can sort of start right now, actually. But let's first have a quick conversation about you selected ice cream for our breakfast meal today. And honestly, I'm not complaining about that. But tell me a little bit why we're having some Graeter's ice cream. And by the way, I'm eating mine out of a coffee mug.
Well, I'm actually having Graeter's coffee flavor. Many people drink coffee for breakfast, but I have been enjoying coffee flavored ice cream through the pandemic. Many times it's actually got me through the pandemic because at the end of the day, I'd sit on the couch with my coffee ice cream. But I thought it was important to share the coffee flavored ice cream for breakfast. And I'm not one of those traditional people that has breakfast food for breakfast. I eat a little bit of everything. So it just worked for me. And that's what I wanted to do today.
Well, that's perfect. And Graeter's, of course, made in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Perfect. All right.
Yes.
So as we get ready to start talking about your role in water and your leadership in water, I thought, it would be worth stepping back a little bit and seeing how, what was your path to leadership, right? Every leader I know has a path, and we all tend to see them in the leadership role they're in right now, but we don't know that there's a path. So would you share your path with us?
Oh my gosh, my path was a little crazy. I grew up in Weirton, West Virginia, and my mom and father divorced early. I think I was 10, 11 or so when they divorced. And so it was my mom and my sister and I. And in hindsight, we were poor, and I didn't know it at the time. My mom certainly made sure that we didn't know it, and she did everything that she could to move the family forward. But I remember graduating from high school and at that moment knowing that, I'm not going to go to college. And that it broke me because I really wanted to go to college, but I knew we couldn't afford it. And somehow or another, my aunt here in Cincinnati found some scholarship. And so I took this scholarship test and scored very high on the test and was given this 2-year scholarship to come to University of Cincinnati. And then didn't have money for the dorm because I had to stay in the dorm. And I remember my uncle showed up with cash in a brown paper bag to pay for the dorm. And when I say this happened quickly, it was like I got the call that I passed the test, and a week later I was on the campus of University of Cincinnati. And I remember saying to my mom, saying to family members, I just want to get there. And I know if I get there, then I will make the most of it. And so at the time, I didn't know what make the most of it meant. But it certainly has meant, finishing the associate's program, starting basically over to get a bachelor's in chemistry, working at US EPA, 29 years now at Graeter Cincinnati Waterworks, and, the last 5.5 years or so as the director. But I never saw this path coming, that person back in high school, trying to figure out what I was going to do because I was, I knew I couldn't go to college. So my leadership role probably has been different from many. And I think that's a lot of what I bring to the table because I have had that different path.
Well, I'd say it is certainly unique to you. I think many leaders, though, have these these sort of nonlinear stories of how they've gotten to where they are. And you have really, everyone should have an uncle like your uncle too. That's really a great story. You know, Cathy, I oftentimes quote you, I tweet about you, and you once said at one of the conferences that the utility is the community. And that really resonated with me as being a past utility employee. But why don't you tell our audience what that quote means to you personally?
Sure. You know, for me, I think so many years we kind of looked at the utility as us and the community as them, you know, and it's kind of like whatever we do, then the community will just have to get behind it no matter what. And that sometimes doesn't work. And so for me, I think, you know, water is life, and we should be more of those anchor institutions in the community. And so with that, I believe that we are the community. You know, what's happening in the community, we should be in tune with that. And solutions that we can bring forward should be better solutions for everyone in the community and not just subgroups of the community. So I challenge employees all the time to look at ourselves as we are the community. And if the community has a problem and they can't pay their bill, or if the community can't afford lead service line replacements, well, that's our problem too. And we should work harder to bring forward solutions for those problems.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of communities, on Monday, I was talking with John Young, and we really sort of focused on talking about Flint, Michigan. So I know Flint has really shaped a lot of the activities and a lot of the utilities across the nation. But can you talk a little bit about how it's affected the work in Cincinnati and affected you personally?
Yeah, Flint was rough for me. You know, we were watching Flint happen, you know, and it was just starting to hit the news. And I remember talking to some people here, some people at the utility, employees at the utility, as well as family members, and just saying, you know, this isn't right. This is some craziness going on. And I think for me, it hit so hard because the majority of the people looked like me, you know, and I could relate to them. I could relate to, you know, the struggles that they might have on a daily basis that, you know, hey, I don't know where the money's coming for food on the table. You know, I don't know how I'm going to pay that next water bill. And now you're saying I don't have, you know, quality water for my family. What am I supposed to do? And if I'm struggling to find money for food or transportation, how am I not going to find money for bottled water? And, you know, so it was very personal. It was very personal for me. And I remember calling up to Flint Water in the midst of all of that and just saying, hey, I'm the director from Graeter Cincinnati Waterworks. What can we do? How can we help? And I remember those first couple of calls, the people told me, oh, we're surprised you're calling because everybody's been calling with negativity, but you're calling to help us. I don't know where to take this call. And I remember one guy in particular, he was in their customer service area. He gave me 7 different names and phone numbers and said, if you can't reach somebody here, and they tell you what to do, then I don't know where to point you to, you know. And I called those numbers and I got through on a couple of them, but they couldn't tell me what to do and how I could help them. And that was just craziness on another level that I had a problem struggling with. I couldn't figure out how a community could be so forgotten, and I couldn't figure out how in this day and age that we let that happen to us, you know, and it was very, very personal to me. And I think it was during those moments is when I decided enough's enough, you know. For Graeter Cincinnati Waterworks, when I first started in 1992, we were talking about removing lead service lines then, you know, and we had been removing lead service lines on the public side since 1971. But we hadn't really come up with a solution to help people on the private side. And so, you know, it was the right thing for us to do, in my opinion, to come forward with something that would help, you know, remove on the public and the private side. And that's what we did here. But it was very personal for me because people looked like me, and I really felt like no one was listening to them. And I certainly have had many moments in my career where people would not listen to me, either because I was a female or I was a Black woman or what. And so it just hit me on many levels, and I had to really struggle and figure out how to get past it.
You know, Cathy, I've got all these things here on my desk. One of them is a coffee mug from Delta Sigma Theta, and you are part of that.
Yes.
What does that sorority mean to you?
Oh my gosh, that sorority means everything to me. You know, I was initiated into the sorority in 1985. It's the largest Black female organization in the world, sorority in the world. And we are just a sisterhood that gets it done no matter what. You know, we figure out how we can give back to the community. So we have scholarship funds each year, and we give away thousands of dollars in scholarship. We reach out and help where we need it in the sorority. We're active socially, you know, social action and voter registration and just helping elderly. And certainly you can imagine how we've been busy during the pandemic, and even more so, we had to figure out how to do things virtually. But for me, it just means the world to me because it aligns with who I am. And that certainly is serving the public. And that's what we do on a daily basis through Delta Sigma Theta. So it's just deep in my heart, and excited that I'm still an active member of that organization.
Yeah, that's terrific. That is terrific. I'm coming to my last question here for you, Cathy. And I'm debating between two different questions, but I think really this is the best question, and I'd love for you to end our little session here on this. And it's really that you've got such an incredible voice about water and about community. And in that voice, what you bring to the table, from my opinion, is a combination of a couple things, sort of this candid approach, a really relatable truth in the things that you say, and also, you know, a boatload of fun. So I don't know that you think about yourself that way, but I think of you that way. And so can you talk a little bit about why having that type of voice is so important today in today's communities and on today's water issues?
Oh, wow. You're right. I don't think of myself that way. You know, I'm just me, right? It is very important to have that type of a voice. And I think maybe why some people might resonate. I mean, I'm just authentic me, you know. I mean, I'm just all me every day, you know. And so I think some people really can relate to that. At times I'm very vulnerable, you know, and sharing my story and my path. And I think some people, you know, like to see that as well. But I think in this day and age, that is what we need. I think we need to hear real life examples, you know, and have people in the industry that have experienced some of the things that many of our community members experience as well. And in doing so, I believe that's how we come up with more successful solutions, because we now have leaders that have experienced that as well. And so I think in this day and age, to have voices like this, I think that's how we move forward. You know, I think there are some things in our industry that definitely are working okay, but I think there's some other things that we definitely need to blow up and start over with. And so all types of voices, I'm hopeful that will come forward and own part of those conversations, so we can figure out, you know, how we move ourselves forward and really become more successful in everything that we're doing.
That's great, Cathy. Thank you so much for spending the morning with a Good Day AWWA. And the ice cream's getting to me a little bit here, Cathy. Also, I'd like to thank Innovise for sponsoring Good Day AWWA. You can learn more about them by going to the ACE21 sponsor page and clicking on their logo, or simply go right to their webpage at innovise.com. Coming up next at ACE21 All Virtual, you have the option of 6 different professional topics. And finally, to you, the audience, I want to thank you for joining us here at Good Day AWWA, and we hope to see you soon.